your host, Ricky Reeves. And thank you to all the new subscribers that are joining the channel. I really appreciate it. And I'm definitely going to try to bring more content to you as much as I can. The subject I would like to talk about tonight is time and the importance of how time to me is the most valuable thing on the planet Earth. I don't think gold, I don't think money, I don't think none of that is overvalued more, or it goes over time. Nothing tops time, and the importance of time is just so important. It's like, especially like if in relationships, you definitely want to always make sure you're spending quality time together with either friends, significant others, girlfriend, boyfriend, you know, your family. You always want to make sure it's quality time and it's not, a traumatic time, a time for the drama, a bunch of fighting and all that nonsense. You don't want to ever waste your time like that. And sometimes people get into situations where your time will get taken up by certain things like that. But if you make sure to keep your mind on just make sure you're having a quality time with your family, friends, your girlfriend, whatever. I mean, I think your life will be really, really better. I also look at it like, you know, if you go to jail, they like to take your money from you and stuff. I get that. And they getting their money when you get out too. But the main thing they ever take is your time. They'll make sure you're gonna serve some time. And you don't ever want to be serving any type of time to anyone. I mean, it's not even benefiting you at all. It's like it's not a waste of time, but it kind of is because it just depends on how you're utilizing your time, especially if you're incarcerated or locked up. If you're utilizing your time in a very, unique way, like where you're actually learning, you're learning, something like a language, a new language. You're reading up on laws of stuff that might have got you in there that you didn't know, and that's why you're in there. Getting educated. People get degrees in prison. You can learn, boxing. They offer that in there. They do have things to rehabilitate you. You don't have to necessarily go with the negative, images and imagery that we see of prisons. They have things that you can refocus your time on and, rehabilitate your mind to when you do get out, you'll be a better person for society. They do have them options. It is harder to really focus on them because you can easily get killed in them situations. You know, a lot of just bad stuff goes on in there because there's a lot of bad people in there. There's some good people in there that have made bad decisions, but there's some evil people that have just made evil decisions, and that's what they want to do. And unfortunately, sometimes your choices they can get you caught up in situations with people like that. I mean, those people they're at your jobs right now. They're in society right now. But the thing that's the difference with that is that they're following somewhat of a rule so they can maintain their freedom out here. But when they're in there, I mean, the freedom has been taken away. So some of them have nothing to lose, and they just do whatever they feel like they want to do. And unfortunately, if you're a good person and you have made a mistake, a bad decision, and it costs you some time, you're gonna have to be with them individuals. But you got to utilize your time wisely, because it will go past you. It will go flying by you if you don't. I mean, um, things like having children early that could take a lot of time from you because you're focusing your time on raising your children, making sure they're going to make the best decisions and that they won't make as many mistakes as they will, but you want to make sure they just have the best situations for their life. And but that's taking time away from you, from like your development and what you want to do, your interests. But if you don't have kids, utilize all your time that you do have and accomplish some things with it that you really want to do. And if when you do that, I mean, I don't see why you can't be so successful and happy. later on. I never understand people that have millions of subscribers or millions of followers, and they have all these people telling these things and stuff, and they're not happy. I don't just I don't understand that at all. Like, you have a million people that are interested in your life. You have no reason to be wasting your time being sad for yourself. You should utilize that time and figure out how to get happy quickly. You have the money and the resources to do all that more than the average person, because a lot of the average people in the world, they just have to deal with their problems and just keep living. They can't go see a psychiatrist. They can't talk to a therapist. They can't go hit a punching bag and let it all out. They can't do that. They might not even have the resources to do that. They got to all come up from their own mind and use their time that way to get their situations and their problems fixed. But anybody that's got like over a million like followers and stuff, I don't feel sorry for them at all. Like, you got to that position, you need to utilize your time better, and don't ever be in a situation where you ever gonna feel like that. I just don't understand that at all. And people might think that's harsh and stuff, but I really don't, because you're in a better position than a million people, especially if they follow you. You're in a better position than a million people. Trust me, the life that you live right now, you better take advantage of that. You have your time to change anything you want to do and everything, because somebody else's problems and the time, they might not even have enough time to fix all their problems. You don't want them, you don't want to be in them shoes, trust me, in no one else's shoes. Trust me. So utilize your time and you could just enhance your life. Another thing, reason why time is just so important is, I mean, say if you are raising kids, the time you spend with those kids, and if they're quality moments that they will never ever forget, and even when you're long and gone, they're going to remember those moments. They're going to remember everything you told them, the right from wrong and everything. And they're going to always repeat what you said more when you die than when you're alive, because my grandma Laura had passed, and I was struggling, especially for the first year, without her. But I always remember everything she tells me, and it always comes in my mind when I'm having like a moment of like, oh man, what am I going to do now? Her, those words, I remember more now than I did when she was alive, and that is like, she utilized her time to instill that in me. She didn't waste time with me with that, and I understand the importance of that when I get older. And if I have somebody to pass that down to, I'm utilizing my time wisely and giving them something to do what for the rest of their days here. So you definitely want to always like make sure you have quality time with your kids, and you want to have quality time with a spouse. See, the another reason why time is important in relationships between a man and a woman, you're getting to know them. That's going to take a little time, but the whole point of relationships is to enjoy that person, and you want to spend quality time with them. You do not want to have negative time or just a time full of drama and just unnecessary bullshit. You don't want that. Like, I mean, there are some toxic relationships that I have seen that are going on even right now and in the past. And it's just like, man, they're like wasting each other's time. And you can't even control it. They're in control of their situations. And that's the worst thing to see is when you're not, when you're on the outside looking in and you can't do nothing about it. You just have to watch the show and you have to watch the turmoil of what's going to happen. And time will tell. Like, there's always, like phrases with time, like the one I just said. There's always something involved with time. That's why I think it's the most valuable thing on the planet Earth. There's always a phrase you're going to hear every day about time, whether it's what time is it, or, in the nick of time, I just got that done. What a waste of time, man, I got to kill time. There's so many different phrases with time. And man, that is one thing. If I figured out how to get more time, like that movie, it's with Justin Timberlake. I can't remember what it was, but that was like really what the wealth was. It was the time that they had in their wrist, like, and they would get to see, someone's about to expire and everything. I really like that movie. I forget the name of it though. But what's one thing I really do like is movies that are associated with time. Like one of my favorite movies is Back to the Future. And it's just like, man, if I had some type of intelligence to create something like that, a time machine, and I wouldn't say alter too many things, but get to like, hey, don't make this decision. There is some stuff from my past where I've made some decisions where I'm like, man, I wish I had another chance, another time to change that. I would definitely do that. And I watched that movie because even though it's a movie and you probably can't create a time machine, even though I believe there is time travel, I really believe that. But if there was a way that you could do that, like, but that one thing that movie does teach me is that you can always change your future. So what you've done in the past, it does matter. You can't forget what you have done to get to this point. You got to take it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You got to take it all. But you could change your time in the future. You could change your future at any moment. You don't have to, you don't have to just accept what's coming to you. You can always change your time in the future. You can always, think of something new that you want to do. There's so many things you could do with your future and the way you could shape it. I mean, you could bring who you want into your life, and you could shun out who you don't want in your life. Like prayer and meditation. It is so important. Like, and keeping your faith. Let's say if you don't even believe in God or not, but you better have faith in something. You better have some faith in something. Because if you don't, you're gonna be walking around with like a chicken with his head cut off. And you don't want to be looking crazy like that. Ever. So but that's why the most important thing is time. I mean, like, you don't want to be learning something and then just quit. You wasted your time doing that. Like, you might have learned a few things from it, but you didn't apply your time wisely. You didn't utilize the time that you had. And you can't just assume that you're going to be guaranteed, oh, I'm going to have time next time. I'll make time next time. Let's say if something happened to you, like you just die or something. Well, you can't, you can't get that back. That's it. It ends. You don't get no more time on this earth to do your free will because when you leave this earth, we we do not know what happens. If we're gonna be honest, we really do not know what's gonna happen. So utilizing your time while you're here, it is so important. Make sure you do things that you just, if you're thinking about it, just do it. Don't just wait around. Don't just wait around and be like, oh, that would be nice to do. No, go out and do it. I've seen some people that I know, like this girl I knew, she always said she wanted to travel and everything. And then now I'm seeing she has been up to Europe, Australia, Russia. She's traveling, she's seeing the world. She's doing what she wants to do. You know, I got friends that live in different countries. They're living their lives out. It might not necessarily be their dreams, but they're utilizing their time so well that they're opening up their worlds to so many other options, and it's giving them, more resources. And that is like utilizing your time to the best ability that you can. And I can't, you know, knock anybody for that who's utilizing their time right. There's some people that are just, they're letting their time waste away. They might have the best potential. They might be even the most talented person, but they just don't have the initiative like another person who is less talented, who just got more. And I never understood that either. There's people that have tons of talent, but they don't have no brains to go with it. It don't match. It's like they got the most ignorant decision making. that you could possibly have. And it takes them a long, long time to get it. But a person that has everything right upstairs, they might not even have anywhere close to the talent. But if they got the willpower and the strength, they could easily get to them situations too by just working hard and getting to that point. But that's where the time comes into play, you know. And that's another thing. If there wasn't a limit on time, I mean, would people take it? They already take it for granted now with a limit. But if you had an unlimited amount of time and you knew how much time you had, how would you utilize it? Like if you really knew when you would die, the time of your death, would you utilize every moment that you can, or do you just enjoy just living by the moment and just saying, oh, because some people waste their time when they live by the moment because they just assume like, oh well, it's just another day. It's just another time. It's here comes Monday. They just let moments pass them by, and you need to take advantage of those situations. Like, if there's like certain women you want to talk to those women. If there's a man you're interested in, talk to that man. You gotta experience these things. You can't let those times pass you by because they will, and then you'll be on the outside looking in at a situation like, oh, that could have been me. That could have been me. I mean, I don't think I don't want to do that. There's some situations where I'm looking at now, like, I'm in those, that could have been me, but I can't be mad about it. It was my decision and what I wanted to do with that time because it was mine. That's one thing about your time. It is yours. It's no one else's. And, you know, if you get in a situation like, let's say you're dating a woman, right? And, she wants to get married and you don't, but you just love being around her because she's so pleasant to be around. You're still not doing her a favor because you're still wasting her time at the end of the day. You need to let that woman go and get what she really wants and needs, especially if you don't have no intentions of marrying her. Like, why even stay around her? Like, you're like literally wasting her time. Like, you could enjoy those moments and utilize those moments of time that you had with her in the beginning. But once she makes something clear, that's what she wants to do, then that's when you need to just step up and be like, well, I don't have that intention at all. So I think it's best that we end this so I don't waste not only your time, but my time as well. Because that's just not going to be good for you. Like, let's say if you just waste this woman's time for like 5 years. You didn't have no intention of marrying her, but you just enjoy being with her. You guys pretty much damn near did the marriage, whole lifestyle period. You were a marriage pretty much, but you ended up just saying, you know what, I'm not wanting to do this, and you wasted 5 years over time. She could have had found another man in that time period if that's what she really wants, you know. And then you could have did the same thing. But then in your next relationship, say you get with the woman and oh, now I really want to get married to this woman. And she does that to you, well, that's called karma, and time and karma go together. And when you don't utilize certain moments right, and if you utilize a moment wrong, you're damn sure it's gonna come back around to you where you're gonna get taught that lesson. And it ain't gonna feel good when you get taught that lesson. That's why you gotta leave things off with people, in the right way. There's some people that ain't supposed to be a part of, they're not gonna be a part of your long-term journey. And that's okay. They're just good for that point of time in your life. But you gotta realize and notice that right away. And you can't waste no time to do that. And that's why time is so valuable. Like, when you die, you're going to live eternally. Your spirit's going to live eternally. But when you die, the money stays here. The possessions that you have gained stay here. You don't take none of that stuff with you. No clothes, nothing. You just had your spirit, and you had your time. and that was all. And it just gonna have on your headstone when you came here and when you left. That's all that matters at the end of this. At the end of this journey, that's all that matters. Nothing more, nothing less than that. So, while you're here, just make sure to utilize your time to the best of your ability. If you grasp that mentality, I don't think you can fail. And I know you won't fail if you grasp that mentality throughout your entire life. I really believe that time is the most valuable thing you have. You know, if you want to watch a certain movie, now there's certain movies you'll watch and it'll be a waste of time. I mean, you can't get those 2 hours back, but hey, you chose to make that decision. You chose to make that decision. You're gonna have bad sex once in a while. It's a waste of time. It's a bad, waste of time, but you do gain some experience. Like, well, I'll know not to do that again, and then I'm gonna make sure when I do it again, it's gonna be quality, and it's gonna be quality time, not a waste of time. You want to make sure everything you do is a quality. It's a quality of time. It's quality time. You do not want to ever waste your time and just have, because when you waste your time and it's a negative time and it's, I mean, those people ain't happy. They just look miserable and they let life really go by once they done been disappointed utilizing their time, because you're still responsible for your decisions and whatever happens to you. You can't be like blaming people. Oh, they did this, they did this. No, it was something you did because you had to make a certain decision too. And you know, there's people that get, and drunk and intoxicated. And they'll just make terrible decisions. But that's what they wanted to do with their time. So, but anyway, that was just a quick little video about time. If you have any, concerns, just make sure to comment on the video and like, share, subscribe. For anybody that's new, make sure to subscribe. And appreciate everybody joining me on Nights with Rick.